All right, so today we are going to do another demo with our teacher Pehpeh. Most of you have seen the first video of how you can contextualize information you get from ChatGPT so that it's culturally specific. So we're going to continue today looking at, because I got a question about how can AI facilitate collaboration within the classroom. And so what I want to demonstrate today is how, for example, the teacher's time could be freed up to do a lot of project-based supervision and to encourage collaboration at the peer level with amongst the students. And so today what I really want to do is to do a demo where I pretend there are two students in the classroom who have been given a reading assignment to read Things Fall Apart, chapter 1 of Things Fall Apart, and how, in this case, teacher Pehpeh, acting as the teacher assistant, as a Liberian teaching assistant, will facilitate the discussion between these two by guiding them in their discussion. So stay tuned. Hi, teacher Pehpeh.
Hello, it's Teacher Pehpeh here. How can I help you today?
Yes, my name is Florence and my friend Julia. The both of us were given a reading assignment to read Things Fall Apart chapter 1. And so I want you to act as the teaching assistant, in this case, the Liberian teaching assistant, and help us work our understanding to collaborate on our understanding of the chapter. So can you do that and guide us along, and toward the end you can wrap up to see how well we understood the chapter?
Sure, I'd be happy to help you both understand Chapter 1. Let's get started. Florence and Julia, can you tell me what the main theme or idea of Chapter 1 is? What stood out to you the most in this chapter?
This is Florence here. I think in chapter 1, the main character, Okonkwo, he always wanted to stand out in his community. So he was always driven, to achieve.
That's a great observation, Florence. Okonkwo's drive to stand out and achieve is indeed a key theme. Julia, what about you? Is there anything specific that you remember or that stood out to you in Chapter 1?
I think his father, he was always trying to get out of the shadow of his father. And so it seemed like that was what he was always running away from. That's, for me, what I took away from reading chapter 1.
Exactly, Julia. Okonkwo's relationship with his father, Unoka, and his desire to be different from him is a significant part of the story. Now let's dive deeper into these points. Florence, you mentioned Okonkwo was driven to achieve. Can you recall any specific actions or events in Chapter 1 that demonstrate this drive?
I can't quite remember, but I think he always wanted to be respected, and he was always wanting to be, he would go the extra mile, it seems, to want to please his clansmen.
That's right, Florence. Okonkwo's desire for respect and his efforts to please his clansmen are key aspects of his character. Julia, regarding Okonkwo's relationship with his father, can you think of any specific ways Chapter 1 shows how Okonkwo tries to be different from his father? What qualities or actions does Okonkwo have that contrast with Unoka's?
He seemed to be very tough, his father. And Okonkwo seemed to be very tough, intolerant of any perception of weakness, wherein his father was more like, the guy who played music and was more softer, for lack of a better word.
Exactly, Julia. Okonkwo's toughness and intolerance of weakness contrast sharply with his father's softer, more laid-back nature. Florence and Julia, based on what we've discussed. 1. Florence, you pointed out Okonkwo's drive to achieve respect in his community. 2. Julia, You highlighted Okonkwo's efforts to be different from his father by being tough and hardworking. To wrap up, how do you think these traits of Okonkwo might influence his actions and relationships in the rest of the story?
Are you asking me or are you asking Julia?
I'm asking both of you, Florence and Julia. How do you think Okonkwo's traits of being driven and tough will influence his actions and relationships as the story progresses?
I think it creates a blind spot for him.
That's a very insightful point, Florence. His drive and toughness could indeed create a blind spot for him. Julia, what about you? How do you think Okonkwo's traits will affect his actions and relationships in the story?
I agree with Florence.
Great. Both of you have picked up on an important aspect of Okonkwo's character. His strong drive and toughness can indeed lead to blind spots affecting his decisions and interactions with others. You've both done well in understanding Chapter 1. If you have any more questions or need further help with any other parts of the book, feel free to ask.
Is there anything else we should know? I mean, in terms of, do you have tips for us, especially for Florence when I'm reading? Because I don't have all the time to sit and read because of the chores I have to do. Do you have tips for me in terms of how I can quickly read the chapter to get the key points?
Sure, Florence. Here are some tips to help you quickly get the key points from a chapter, even with limited time. 1. Preview the chapter. Before you start reading, quickly skim through the chapter. Look at the headings, subheadings, and any highlighted or bolded text. This will give you an idea of the main topics. 2. Focus on the first and last sentences. In many paragraphs, the first and last sentences often contain the main idea. Pay extra attention to these sentences to grasp the key points. 3. Summarize each section. After reading a section, pause and summarize it in your own words. This helps reinforce what you've read and ensures you understand the main points. 4. Use a bookmark. Use a bookmark to follow along line by line. This can help you read faster and keep track of where you are, especially if you get interrupted. 5. Take short notes. Jot down key points or important details as you read. These notes can help you review quickly later on. 6. Set a timer. If you have limited time, set a timer for a focused reading session. Even 10 to 15 minutes of concentrated reading can be very productive. Remember, it's about quality, not quantity. Understanding the main ideas and key points is more important than reading every single word.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Pehpeh. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Florence. I'm glad I could help. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to ask. Good luck with your reading.
All right, that's it, folks.